Now, a few months ago, we earned the Platinum Trophy for perhaps one of the craziest games I've played, that being Postal 4, and since then there have been a few more Postal games added to the PlayStation Store that I've had my eye on for some time. Well, in today's video we finally take the plunge and enter another world of absolute madness with Postal Brain Damaged. Still a ridiculous plotline, but a completely different take on the gameplay. I was apprehensive about it at first, but quickly came to love the game, and I truly believe this is a highly underrated gem. Not a lot of publicity and not a lot of people covering it, but don't worry, we're about to change that. So sit back, relax and grab your favourite health pipe as I take you on my journey to earn the Platinum Trophy for Postal Brain Damaged. Enjoy. The game begins where we find the postal dude chilling out in his suburban home, and where he ends up laying down to take a little nap. He then falls asleep and finds himself dreaming about watching TV. At least he was trying to watch TV, but this old box had seen better days, and so our task was to go out and get our hands on a new one. And just like that, we are thrown into the world of Postal Brain Damage and its first chapter. Straight off the bat, you'll notice that this is very different from your typical Postal game. It's still first person, it's still got a ridiculous plotline, and it's still got crazy things you can discover. However, the actual gameplay itself has shifted towards a more retro style, fast-paced first-person shooter with a linear level design unlike its predecessors. Can't lie, I struggled to get invested at first. I was never really a fan of these types of games growing up, and I'm still not really to this day, hence why games like Doom haven't appeared on the channel. However, I must have enjoyed it, otherwise you wouldn't be seeing this video. The first chapter for the most part is just one massive search and bloodbath for a new TV, as our one is broken and we want to get back to watching some of the latest shows we've been missing out on, and the journey for this new TV takes us from Postal Dude's house located in the suburbs to being imprisoned and then escaping all the way to a lone Walmart. Yeah, kinda weird, kinda crazy, doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but this is Postal and this is what we get. While making our way through the beginning area of the game, the suburbs, we killed a lot of people, put down some absolutely terrifying canines, explored quite a bit and picked up a bunch of different weapons and items that we can use to deal with the absolute mayhem going forward. And while doing this, I do manage to unlock a total of 4 trophies. The first trophy I unlocked was the God Save the Dude trophy for using our first portable armor consumable.
I feel very secure right now.
Next, I ended up stumbling across a kind of weird black house. It seemed to stand out from the rest, and noticed that when getting near it, the music changed, and knowing in a Postal game this probably means a secret, I decided to investigate. Inside, we find many of the local suburbians involved in some sort of satanic ritual. Now, with the shit we've seen outside, there is no way in God's name I was about to let them summon the devil as well. Not only that, but we never got an invite, so I took it upon myself to put a stop to their little party, and by stop, I mean murder every single one of them. Doing so though does unlock us the trophy Music Soothes the Beast. We then took a little stroll down the street when I noticed your mum's house due to the sheer amount of pussy. Cats. I mean, I'm saying your mother owns cats, and there was a lot of them outside. Anyway, stroking one of these furry felines earns us the pss 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 trophy. And the final trophy we unlocked during this level was for using hot sauce to literally allow us to piss fire, setting at least 5 people on fire this way, nabbed us the It Burns trophy. A little while later, after slaughtering the whole town, we eventually stumble across a TV just sitting there waiting for the taking. However, this isn't Thief Simulator, and within seconds of touching it, we are surrounded and trapped by some weird messed up versions of what I assume is the Popo. We then awaken and find ourselves in a prison cell and quickly decide that we'd much rather be watching TV, and so we spend this and the next couple of levels breaking out of this hellhole and making our way towards Walmart. While making our escape from the prison, I stumble across one of the many crack pipes that we can pick up and use to regain health. Now, I've said it once before and I will say it again, crack has saved me more times than I can count. This time though, it just gets us a trophy.
Smoke it!
A while later, I got absolutely bum rushed by a bunch of monsters, and I decided that rather than let them kill me, I'd off myself and drink some liquid nitrogen. Trouble is, it didn't kill me, but it did give me the ability to now piss out liquid nitrogen, and much like the hot sauce, freezing 5 enemies this way nabs us the It's Bigger When It's Warm trophy. Now, something I never mentioned earlier is that while going through these levels, I was also on the lookout for all of the secrets and posters hidden around the levels, both of which are linked to trophies we can unlock later on, but they are also needed for the next trophy we unlocked, and that was for fully 100% in a level. Now, not only did this mean discover all of the secrets and posters, but also to kill all of the enemies on the level. Now, I wasn't actually going out of my way to do this, and genuinely thought that I'd have to do this at the end during cleanup, but no, apparently I managed to kill all of the enemies, discover everything I needed to, getting us that 100% completion for the level, and also unlocking the Try Hard trophy. Now, the next two levels, nothing really big happens. We died quite a lot due to the absolute fuckeries that are the enemies located here. The enemies are quite relentless. Once they've seen you, that's it. They won't stop firing until either you're dead or they are. And although the grappling hook on the shotgun is an absolutely amazing way to move about and avoid this kind of damage, it often got me killed as I would launch myself into a massive group of enemies. I will say a notable weapon I unlocked during this stage was quite literally a bow that used to shoot dildos, and let me tell you, those bad boys hit hard, although my aim wasn't exactly the best, but I'm sure your mother will tell you more about that. In terms of story progress, I assume we are now in Mexico. There's loads of sand and we spend most of the time blowing our way through walls and sneaking through facilities to get to the other side of a much bigger wall. During this time though, I did manage to unlock 2 more trophies. The first was the Double the Excitement trophy for using the Akimbo power up to kill a total of 5 enemies. And the second was for flipping a couple of hidden switches, giving us access to this absolute specimen of a secret, unlocking another trophy.
Developers thought they could hide this from me?
Now, the trophy you saw that we just unlocked was the It's Not Wednesday My Dudes trophy for finding this secret on any other day other than Wednesday. For those of you who don't know, Postal games usually consist of days throughout the week, typically Monday through Friday. Now, I'm currently not sure as to whether or not there will be an option to change the day later on, maybe after we complete the game, or if I'll have to come back on Wednesday in real life to actually get this trophy popped. For now though, we do get one trophy, so we'll worry about the other one later. And eventually, after going through hell, we finally reached Walmart and it was time to get our hands on that new TV. Well, in a few minutes time anyway, as now we had a boss fight against one of the most ferocious beings ever to walk the earth, the Karen, and she wants nothing more than to speak to our manager. However, the only one talking in this conversation are my weapons. She wasn't too difficult, just had to make sure we kept our distance while pumping her full of bullets. Eventually, we bring down the mighty Karen and unlock the I Am the Manager trophy.
Why didn't Karen pick up her kids?
Now, with a brand new TV in hand, we could finally catch up on some TV. We shortly find ourselves trying to fall asleep when all of a sudden our gun tries to talk to us, which causes us to now need to take a dump. However, there isn't any toilet rolls nearby. We then realise that we have been drugged and we wake up in an insane asylum. Of course, this means another escape attempt and the search for some of that glorious toilet roll in order to cleanse our cheeks. Now, the first few areas of the chapter look as expected. Creepy, insane asylum, absolutely messed up looking monsters around that we have to fight against, and forests. Plenty of forests. I also noticed how many more puzzles we needed to solve during this area. I felt like there was a decent portion more than what there was in the first chapter and often required us to cover more distance and kill more enemies in our way when solving them, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, as during the massacres I did manage to pop a few more trophies. The first 2 in the asylum itself, with us getting the Gym Enthusiast trophy for killing 5 enemies with the steroids power up active.
Now was that pronounced Gib or Jib?
And also the reloading trophy for using an ammo box consumable for the first time.
More for me.
And while escaping the asylum's courtyard and gardens, I found a little bottle of drink and decided that I'll have a little sip just to celebrate how well I'm doing. Now, it didn't get me drunk, but it did allow me to now piss out liquid confusion. Confusing at least 5 enemies this way unlocks the I Am Confused trophy. Now, there is a trophy that we can obtain while making our way through the forest level, however I unfortunately missed out on it and so we'll have to return during cleanup. However, our search for the TP eventually brings us into a secret facility run by the government and the Illuminati, where we discover that not only are they running some probably highly illegal and immoral tests, but there are also hundreds of aliens and UFO hidden deep inside and kept secret from the public. We also discover that one of these experiments and creations was the Big Bad Rona, and of course this meant another boss fight, making it our second of the game. Now the key to killing this boss is shooting all of its sticky out eyeball things. It takes a decent amount of damage off each time we pop one, making the boss fight a lot easier. We are also able to use the vaccine to briefly slow him down and stun him, allowing us to get more damage in. However, there is a trophy for killing him without using it, and seeing as I missed the trophy in the forest level, I decided against using the vaccine and instead rode him like I was on top of a hot air balloon and let my minigun do all the work. And it wasn't long before the big bad Rona was stopped and we unlocked 2 trophies, one for beating him without the vaccine and another for just straight up beating him.
The virus.
This meant we could finally get our hands on that glorious toilet roll and we could empty our bowels once more. This then brought us to the final chapter of the game. Postal Dude had one more adventure yet to undertake, and this time we were headed to a gaming expo to mingle with all the furries, but most importantly get an autograph from world-renowned tech mogul, philanthropist, business magnate and occasional pothead who is adored by all but adores no one in return, Leon Dusk. Why? Because we have been promised a mighty blessing for our RV, a crap ton of health pipes and a cheap, unreliable electric motor. Every dude's dream, right? Of course, our journey through the expo doesn't go exactly as planned. It wasn't as simple as asking for an autograph and once again find ourselves slaughtering everyone at the convention before finding ourselves taking a trip into space to board Leon's Dusk Star in an attempt to get that signature. In case you didn't realise, the Dusk Star is a reference to the Death Star in Star Wars. Now I'd like to say, even though the game itself is full of references to other games and movies, this has to be the area where all of that shines through the most, as it all actually makes sense given the setting. Now obviously, being a gaming expo, there are tons of new games being revealed and secret showings of some new upcoming games in the works. One of these being Half-Life 3, and your boy here managed to get his hands on a copy. Now it wasn't easy, they had it locked away under tight security with numerous traps trying to prevent anyone from stealing it. It was however absolutely no match for us, and eventually we managed to get our hands on the long-awaited sequel and unlock another trophy.
Those moronic developers thought they could hide this from me?
Speaking of sequel, Valve, when are you going to make a Half-Life 3? You need to hurry up with this, man. We've been waiting for years now. Half-Life Alyx is great, but we want Half-Life 3. A little while later, while on board the Dusk Star, I also pop a couple of pills which slows down time for everyone but me. And much like the other power-ups in the game, getting 5 kills with it active nabs us another trophy. And a short while later we come to the final showdown, us between Dusk and his Tesla Bojulion robot. I think that's how you say it. Yes, this is actually a 2-stage boss fight, however it is made easier by the fact that I pop some pills to slow down time and then just let Leon have it with everything I had, taking him down pretty damn quickly, but you will notice he did kinda look familiar. This then leads him to retreating into his giant robot, so now it was time for stage 2. Again, nothing really difficult here. I didn't pop any quick pills to slow down time, but I did use the shotgun's grappling hook to rip off numerous parts of the robot's body. One of these revealing his boy parts, and by pissing on them, not only does it deal a decent amount of damage, but it also marks our territory and unlocks us another trophy. And of course, a couple of minutes later, we take a piss in his final part, taking down the robot and unlocking yet another trophy. Now throughout the game, and this is something that I haven't mentioned before, but we have also seen ourselves numerous times, however never managed to get close enough. Turns out that in this final showdown at the end, he does get the better of us. He then reveals to us that Leon Dusk is actually the other dude we've been chasing, but to confuse you even more, the other dude is also us, or at least that's what I'm getting from it. Now I haven't played the other Postal games except for Postal 4 for a decent amount of time now, so my knowledge on the lore and story is kinda hazy. I have had a little look online just to give you the gist of the storyline and some of the theories out there. In terms of how it relates to the ending of this game though, this is purely speculation and none of it is in a way confirmed. So basically, Postal 1 begins with a postal dude getting evicted from his home and he believes that the United States Air Force is releasing an airborne agent into the population of the town of Paradise, causing them to hate everyone everything, and the game essentially has us make our way through multiple areas until we launch our raid on the Air Force Base. All the way throughout hearing voices in our head, voiced by Rick Hunter and named in the game files as the Demon. At the end of Postal 1 we end up seeing Postal Dude attempt to murder a school full of kids, however his bullets have no effect and ends up suffering a mental breakdown, which could possibly indicate that no matter what is happening in the world, he draws the line at killing kids, and he is then found restrained in a straitjacket in an insane asylum. Now, both that game and this game has a start in Postal Dude's house before eventually ending up in an insane asylum. Coincidence? Maybe. Doctors can be heard talking about the Postal Dude and what his reasons were, however they didn't have any idea and there seems to be no mention of US military interference. This could mean a bunch of things. The asylum doctors could be unaware of what was actually happening, the Postal Dude could just be overly paranoid to a point that it leads to states of pure insanity, or there could be something more evil at play. Maybe something like a demon. This is where the Postal Redux ending comes in. The developers say they changed the ending due to the elementary school shooting losing its shock value and instead replaced it with a scene where we find Postal Dude burying someone at a cemetery, which many believe is himself, more specifically his evil self, as a way of representing him killing the demon in his head. This then leads to him again having a mental breakdown and being locked away in an asylum. Now back to Brain Damage, the other dude goes on to tell us that we've had this conversation before, even though we can't remember. He tells us he can't be stopped and that every time we do stop him he only comes back stronger and stronger and that there will be no escape. Now this other dude is also voiced by Rick Hunter. He's also got the red eyes, possibly indicating a demon or Postal Dude's evil self. So this could possibly be a reference to the endings of both Postal 1 and the Redux, which also gives a reason as to why his personality is different in Postal 2. Maybe every time he kills himself he forgets, which eventually results in the story of Brain Damaged. But that's just a theory. A game theory. Anyway, back to the actual game. Remember he said there'd be no escape? Well, turns out he meant there was no escape for him, as a swift blast in the head from our shotgun deals with him very quickly. And with that, we had successfully helped Postal Dude destroy a part of his brain, and so we of course get the obligatory explosion that we have been waiting for.
Fuck. Now I can't remember my childhood potty training. Still a little bit low-key. Wait just a sec. Well, there can only be one ending to this story. The fuck? Who peed all over my couch?
And now with the game story finally complete, I could move on to the cleanup stage. Throughout the game, as I had mentioned earlier, we had been on the lookout for any posters and secrets along the way. Now I know I definitely missed some, as I never got any trophy pops for them throughout my playthrough. So now my plan was to go back through all of the levels that I never found them all on. Well, I thought that was my plan. Turns out that for some unknown reason, maybe this is the other Postal Dude getting back at me for killing him, but for some reason I had lost all of my progress from the previous 2 chapters. I restarted my game, reloaded my save, I've tried everything, but nope, it was all gone. So what was supposed to be a bit of cleanup ended up turning into partially a whole nother playthrough. Now to be fair, it wasn't too bad going back through the game, as I knew everything that I had to do, and all I was doing now was rushing through the levels while following a brilliant guide I found on the Steam community showing all of the posters and secrets in the game. And it wasn't long before we were popping the 3 trophies related to the posters and finishing our codex entries, being the weapon, enemy and location entries. I will also link the guide in the description for anyone who is attempting this platinum. While going back through the game, I also made sure to stop off at a certain group of enemies in the forest to slaughter them all for the Welcome to the Colony trophy. After completing our codex, I then loaded up the very first level and used it to finish my final combat related trophy, and that was for using the kick to reflect 10 total projectiles, something which I found out you could do pretty early on but never actually utilised throughout the game. Anyway, a few reflections later and we unlock the No You trophy. Now it was time for me to put my speedrunning cap on and attempt a speed run of any of the game's levels. Now I decided to also use the first level for this trophy as well. First level of the game, weaker enemy types and not a hell of a lot of things that we need to actually complete. Gotta be easy, right? Well, I've never ate my own words quicker than I have now, because this took me nearly 30 minutes to finally do. Doesn't sound too bad when you think about it, but 30 minutes of doing the same thing over and over again, just to fail over and over again by mere seconds, is about as gut-wrenching as it gets. We needed to get a time quicker than 2 minutes and 21 seconds, and I literally could not make my personal run any quicker than it already was. I think my best personal run was 2 minutes 23. I did all of the slide jumping to increase my speed, I used the grappling hook to my advantage, I took as many shortcuts as I could find, and I still couldn't do it. It was driving me insane. That was until I found an exploit that could save me valuable time thanks to someone on YouTube, which I will also try to remember to link in the description. So basically, at the start of the level, our goal is to escape our house by collecting both keys, exiting the back door and pissing on the fuse box. Well, if you open the window in the kitchen at the very start of the level and piss on the fuse box and then instantly restart, you can pretty much walk straight out of the front door, saving us valuable time. Thankfully this worked for me and I was able to beat the speed run requirement and unlock the premature evacuator trophy. This brings us to our final trophy. Now you may remember earlier we found that secret and got a trophy for finding it on any day other than a Wednesday. Well, for this next trophy we'd be revisiting the same secret, but I'd have to wait 24 hours before I could do that. So I used that time to have a good fap and start another game for a future video. Obviously a fair few hours later, Tuesday midnight rolls around. I wait a few minutes past just to ensure the game registers it was Wednesday, and then I booted up Postal Brain Damaged for the final time, revisited this absolutely glorious Easter egg, and unlocked our final trophy of the game, and the Platinum Trophy.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
And with that being the Platinum Trophy, this brings us to the end of yet another absolutely crazy Postal game. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, these fast-paced first-person shooters aren't really my cup of tea. Some of them are incredible, and the few that I have played I have enjoyed, but the gameplay style is just not my personal preference. After playing through Postal Brain Damaged, I will admit I am warming up to the genre and may take on some more of these types of games in the future. You may even see Doom. Now, as for Postal Brain Damaged, it's very enjoyable. Just making your way through each level, mindlessly slaughtering everyone in your path with a variety of different weapons, is something that you could do for hours. The combat itself is fun, and the in-game mechanics with many of the different consumables and weapons is very enjoyable. There's tons of secrets and Easter eggs to discover, there's tons of references being made literally all the time. It's just a great package. Now, in terms of weapons, they're absolutely crazy as well, like being able to piss out fire or using a shotgun to grapple onto enemies. There's even a cat launcher that you can use to shoot cats, and you can even hoover them back up to reuse them. Absolutely mental. Talking about absolutely mental, that's something that the story delivers plenty of. Absolutely messed up looking people and creatures, secrets hidden by the government, the fact that we end up killing a part of our brain at the end. Definitely a story on the weirder end of the spectrum of games that I've played, but with the way that it's written and the comedy you can experience throughout, it's a story you can actually get into. Of course, this can lead to then spending hours online looking up different theories regarding the storyline, which is what I plan on doing after editing this video. Now, the only thing that let this game down personally was that I did encounter that bug that caused me to lose most of my progress, which is obviously a very big deal if you're a trophy or achievement hunter, but apart from that, everything else seemed to work as intended. But all in all, this is definitely a game that I'd recommend playing and potentially earning that Platinum Trophy for. Now, if you haven't checked out my previous video where I got the Platinum Trophy for Postal 4, then I will leave a link down below in the description that you can use to check it out if you so wish. But anyway guys, this does bring us to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, then a like and share would help me out a bunch. It shows your support, and your support is always appreciated on the channel. Be sure to let me know what you think of Postal down in the comments below, as well as any suggestions for games that you may have. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on to stay up to date with everything I upload. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.
It is Wednesday, my dude.